Welcome to Elden for the Elderly, a channel dedicated to helping gamers of a certain age, well, like me. My first RPG was in 1980, a title called Adventure on the Atari 2600. And now I play Elden Ring, an RPG which kicks my ass on the regular, but it's so fun, I don't care. I've added a few touches to these videos to make them easier to follow, including a magnified compass during stretches of travel, and crude map animations with clearly labeled sites of grace. The singular goal of the first series of videos on this channel are to take a new character, level 9, make them stronger, and see how quickly we can get to the famous bird farm. Why the bird farm? It's a relatively easy way to earn piles of runes per hour, allowing you to level up your Tarnished quickly. This is our target, perhaps the most killed NPC creature in video game history. This flightless bird jumps off the cliff almost every time it is struck by an arrow, awarding you with 11,000 runes. You can spin around, rest at the site of grace, and repeat this interaction every 15 seconds or so. That's good money, fast. Here's the bad news. Two tough bosses stand in our way to get to the bird farm, both at Stormveil Castle. Margit the Fell Omen is waiting to greet us at the entrance of the castle, and then we have Godric the Grafted, a demigod, waiting to punish us at the end of the castle. After dozens of hours of playtesting, I was able to take a new level 9 crash test Tarny, kill Margit, and get through Stormveil Castle in 1 hour 20 minutes, leveling up to around level 14. And then Godric happens. Godric is practically an unassailable force for a low-level Tarnished, even with Spirit Ashes and an NPC, Nefeli Lu, assisting in the fight. If you are like me with mediocre fighting reflexes, I cannot recommend fighting Godric at such a low level. But the good news is that I have a solution. It's going to take a few more hours to complete, yet if you show a little patience with me up front, your trek to the bird farm will go more smoothly and with much less aggravation. It can be confusing to know which tasks you have to finish in this huge open world to unlock access to the farm, so let's take a look at our to-do list. First, we are going to do a partial mapping run of Limgrave to unlock key sites of grace and gather a few essential supplies. Then we will head to the Farum Greatbridge farming site and spend time farming runes to level up and strengthen our Tarnished. Once our Tarnished is sufficiently fortified and ready to fight, we will then get to the action. We will kill an NPC named Neregis and defeat a merchant named Patches. We will then head to Stormveil Castle and kill Margit the Fell Omen. We will explore Stormveil and find the fastest route through it to take on our toughest challenge, Godric. After killing Godric, it's a relatively simple trek on horseback to complete the quest line of a guy named Vare to finally arrive at the bird farm. So let's get started. For my character class, I finally settled on the Samurai, a dexterity and strength build. The Samurai comes with a good sword, the Uchigatana, and we will add a second Uchigatana before our first fights. These katanas do blood damage, which can be very helpful against bosses. Here, we are entering the first area, Limgrave. Our first site of grace is straight ahead, the first step. Go ahead and activate it, then speak to Whiteface Vare.
Oh yes, come to the lands between...
If you are not a fan of slow dialogue, you can hit Y to move through each line of dialogue more quickly. Always exhaust all dialogue with NPCs you encounter, meaning keep hitting Y until they start repeating themselves. The next goal is to reach the Church of Elleh, and by the way, I will mispronounce names of locations and NPCs and creatures, but as long as I get you where you need to go, I hope you'll give me a pass. We have a short trip north to get to the church, but avoid the tree sentinel, patrolling on the left as you head north. Just go north, keeping the guy in gold on your left, and approach the first ruined structure you see. Then turn left to get to the church. At this church, there is a blacksmithing table in the far left corner where you can eventually upgrade your weapon for a few levels, and we meet our first merchant, Elleh.
You're a Tarnished. I can also let you not then wine. I am Elleh.
Now, let's take a look at the map. Our next goal is to leave the church heading north and grab a map fragment. Map fragments are always indicated with this icon. We will also find the Gatefront Ruins site of grace, which is very close by.
Goodbye for now.
We will pretty much make a straight line north to the Gatefront Ruins site of Grace. Just keep the cliffs on your left and run north. And while we run north, here is our initial shopping list in the lands between. We will first unlock our steed, Torrent, and then track down a calling bell so that we can summon spirits to help us fight. We will then rescue a Whetblade from a treasure chest so that we can apply magic to our equipment, and finally, go find a second Uchigatana so that we can have a katana sword in each hand. Here we get our first look at the Gatefront ruins. Resting at the site of Grace will trigger our first encounter with Melina.
I am Melina.
Depending on your game choices, Melina can be a constant companion speaking to you at sites of grace as you progress in the game. Go ahead and accept her offer of assistance, and she will give us a ring allowing us to summon our horse, Torrent.
I bequeath to you this ring.
Let's equip the ring for Melina so that we can call on our trusty steed. Pull up the menu and equip the ring in one of the pouch pockets on the right. Highlight a pouch and press Y to assign it. Then select the ring from inventory. Once equipped, you can hold Y to bring up the pouch on the lower left and press the D-pad to select Torrent's ring. A quick look at the map shows the map fragment is ahead on the left, so let's ride in and grab it. And here's my first important recommendation for this bird farm quest. Run. Just run. You don't have to fight everything you come across. In these early stages, it's just easier and safer to avoid fighting and run everywhere. East of the ruins is the next site of grace, Agheel Lake North. You can pull up the map and see the new information we unlocked. Next up on the supply list is to get the calling bell from Renna the Witch. On the map, select the Church of Elleh to our south and fast travel to it to trigger our first encounter with her. Walk over and speak to Renna.
A pleasure to meet thee, Tarnished. I am the witch Renna.
When she asks, tell her you can call the steed. She will give you the calling bell, which will allow you to summon spirits in certain areas to help you fight. She starts us off with a good one, the lone wolves. They will come in handy later. You should equip the spirit wolves in an empty pouch slot just like with Torrent. Rest at the site of grace and select the option to speak with Melina. She is going to encourage us to find Stormvale Castle and, oh you know, the usual, kill
A demigod.
no big deal. Before we leave this area, we should hit the underground chest in Gatefront ruins. Leave the church and ride north to get there. Approach from the south side, as you see here, and you want to call the spirit wolves under the big arch. Note that you can only summon spirit ashes in certain areas of the game. This icon appears on the screen wherever you are allowed to summon. While the wolves provide a distraction, head forward and then down the stairs to grab a whetstone blade out of the chest. Out of all the times I have done this, soldiers never followed me down the stairs. This blade adds an option to your Site of Grace menus for applying Ashes of War to your equipment. Go back above ground and ride east to rest at the Agheel Lake North Site of Grace. Let's pull back a moment and look at the bigger picture. We are going to pick up the East Limgrave map fragment, which is located in this area. We will depart Agheel Lake North and follow this path to get to it. Once we have the map, we will strike out north and hit the Site of Grace at the Third Church of Merika. Our next supply goal is to pick up the Sacred Blade Ash of War, which is just here north of the church. And our last goal is to pick up a second Uchigatana. To get to the sword, we will go north from the church and jump a series of spirit springs to get up the cliffs to Summonwater village. We will then track west to find the Deathtouched Catacombs where the sword is located. After picking up the sword, we will return to the church to take a Waygate and teleport to the Farum Greatbridge farm. So let's get the East Limgrave map fragment. Just follow the course I'm about to take. Follow the road east and cross the bridge. After the bridge, watch for a left turn on the dirt road and head north and then northeast along the road. After the road turns east, you can usually see the next map fragment on the map. Drop a pin on it and cut cross-country to pick it up. As you approach the area, you may need to dodge giant, angry bears. Just keep running. Once you have the map fragment, turn north and slightly northeast to get to the Third Church of Merika. At the church, grab a sacred tear from the statue, which will allow us to upgrade our flasks. Then grab the Flask of Wondrous Physic nearby. Touch the Site of Grace, but don't rest yet. It's time to get to the Sacred Blade Ash of War and our second Uchigatana. Exit west from the church and look for the land sloping upward to the north. When you start up the slope, lock onto the scarab, kill it, and you will be rewarded with the Sacred Blade upgrade, which is critical for the Farum Greatbridge farm task that is coming up on our to-do list. Next, we will go find the second Uchigatana in the Deathtouched Catacombs to the northwest. Approach the Spirit Spring and jump up to the next level, aiming to the right. Ignore the wolves and get to the next jump. When you jump here, aim left and you can land on the top level without having to use the third Spirit Spring. We have arrived at Summonwater Village. Head west through the village to get to the Summonwater Village outskirts Site of Grace. You will pass through a cemetery and then find the nomadic merchant on the left.
Oh, dear. Are you here as a customer?
As we cross this bridge, grab the smithing stones hidden on the right, and you can ignore the lesser mad pumpkin. Touch the Saintsbridge Site of Grace on the left. We are very close to the Deathtouched Catacombs now. Hug the right canyon wall until you see a spot where Torrent can jump up. After you get up top, ride north until you see the entrance on the left. We don't have to fight anything in here, just keep moving along and you should be able to avoid death while you grab the sword.
Would you like to dance with us?
Wielding an Uchigatana in each hand can be very helpful in boss battles, since both swords inflict bleed damage. Pull up the map and take the option to fast travel back to the third Church of Merika. Rest at the Site of Grace and level up flasks. Then take the option to allocate flasks and put 3 recharges into blue FP. This is important for the Farum farm. In the Ashes of War menu, apply Sacred Blade to your right-hand sword. It's time to start the next item on our to-do list, go to Farum Greatbridge Farm. From the statue in the church, turn right, and then left outside. Get into the water north of the church, and head east into the corner to find the Waygate to Farum Greatbridge. Press Y to activate the portal. We just transported to an area of the Lands Between where we are way out of our league. Do not hit this guy or he will squash you like a gnat. In fact, most of the creatures you will see in this area will one-hit kill your low-level Tarnished. But this is where we will farm runes way faster than we could in Limgrave, and we will be successful. This is the end of Part 1. Please check the video description for the link to join me in Part 2, where we will learn to farm this area. I hope you found this video helpful, and thank you for watching.